What was your last vacation?
Right.
Oh, we took a cruise. Oh, you took a cruise. How long was the cruise? Oh, 10 days.
Right.
Let me ask you, what'd you spend? If you think about it.
Right.
Oh, probably about $8,000-$9,000.
Right.
So let me get this straight. You would spend $8,000 to $9,000 for a 7-day excursion,
Right.
but you would not make that investment for where you spend a third of your life.
What people pay for are better experiences,
Yep.
faster responses, better access.
Better access.
Nobody likes paying more for something.
Right.
We know people aren't going to like it. That doesn't mean that they're not willing to do it if you give them and justify the reason for it. But we're willing to do it because you said that's what you wanted.
That's right.
Nothing.
Bupkis.
This might be a guy I want
I
to
mean, what are we over here working for? My goodness. You got one job? Well, you got 7 jobs, son.
Yeah, but it's been fascinating going down this, like learning about pickleball and learning about the rules and the court, the description of the court,
Right.
scoring. I mean,
I
scoring.
don't want you overthinking it. That's all. I'm just saying.
Well, all you do is hit it back to
Don't
you.
overthink it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Focus on that.
Hitting it back to you?
Yeah. What did you say you played sports? Mm-hmm. What'd you play? Baseball?
Well, mostly baseball.
Okay. All right, so you've got good
basketball.
hand and eye coordination. Oh, then you'll be
baseball, basketball, football.
fine. Okay. Coordination
Baseball.
won't be the issue.
No, hand
It's
eye.
going to be those knees.
Right. Yeah. Well, my hand eye is good.
Okay.
The footwork.
Your
footwork
body,
might be
your body
questionable.
just has to make sure your body can go where your mind wants to.
I may pull a hammy going after that first volley.
Yeah, that's
of
all right. I
that
went through a whole
service.
fence, so
Yeah.
that fence did nothing. I should have sued the city.
I was gonna say who won?
I should have sued the county. Well, there we are.
There we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Today's topic is not about lawsuits, but hey, folks, you are in the right place. This is the Grow Business Podcast. I'm your host, Corey Mosley, joined by none other than, I know I went ahead of it, LG00, we're on the express train
train,
today. Joined by LG007, Lon Graham is in the building.
Voice of reason.
And you know who it is? He's the man behind. We're going to get him. We're still working on. We get him a little camera, so like Howard Stern, it would shoot to the some of the people that shoot there. Maybe we'll activate that camera on his desk. Willie H is here,
Hit the buttons, William.
folks. We're super excited to have you here today for another show of the Grow Business Podcast. We put the title. We put it in the name, what we do. We're here to do one thing, that's help you grow your business. So we come back week after week committed to do that. You, our ideal listener and viewer here, if you're watching us on YouTube or streaming us, is businesses, people who are in business already, who, while you certainly can be a solo and benefit from what we're talking about, generally the things that we're talking about require execution within a team. Now, remember, your team doesn't have to be employees.
Right.
They can be contractors, freelancers, people in the gig economy, but creating an ecosystem to build your business.
Right.
And then we also love talking to and hearing from our C-suite executives who influence the growth of business at their departments, VP of sales, CMOs, and various folks inside the corporate environment who we're able to impact. And we do this based on our 5 pillars of business growth. We believe that any business growth challenge can be overcome if you first identify, isolate, and attack within the pillars. LG, tell us what the pillars are.
Well, thank you for asking, Corey. Those pillars are mindset, sales, marketing, operations, and people.
Excellent. Yes, folks. And you can learn more about that in my latest book, Position for Growth, available on Amazon and Kindle and a couple places.
Yeah.
You can get you a copy straight to you can have it as soon as tomorrow. So hit the button. We got to start putting that. Do we put that in the YouTube? We got to start putting a link to that.
Like a buy button?
Yeah.
we
So we
should.
can sell some more
100%.
books. Buy my book. That's what it said in Wall Street too. He said, "You want to know the rest of the answers? Buy my book." Exactly. Well, folks, we've got a show. I'm just going to get right to it.
Yeah.
Prices.
Okay.
Everything's high,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
I mean, I don't want to get into politics, but man,
against the law.
I was none too thrilled to put 5 gallons of gas in a rental car the other day and have it be like $35 or $40.
Yeah. Correct.
That's just insanity.
That's
So prices are going up. Cost of goods, your COGS in your business are going up.
yes.
So that may mean you need to raise prices. So today we want to talk to you directly about how to raise prices and give you some ideas how to do that without losing customers.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because everybody's under the pressure.
Right.
And, the fear every business owner has is if I raise my prices, I'm going to lose customers.
Right.
And yes, that can happen. Now, that may create a new opportunity for newer customers or more profitable customers.
Right.
But the bigger truth is, if you're under margin compression right now, if you don't raise your prices, bring this camera right here, please. If you don't raise your prices, you may lose your business. And that's going to be an important thing. Costs are up, competition is louder, margins are tighter. And yet, many business owners, and I think too many business owners, are staying stuck, underpriced, and overworked.
Yeah.
We're getting lean. There's been a lot of layoffs, different things happening there.
Sure.
But, they're doing that because they're afraid of what might happen.
Yeah, and I'll say this a little bit different way. Same concept, Corey, is yes, if you raise your prices, you might lose a customer. If you don't raise your prices, you'll lose all your customers.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
And so it's the reality of the world that we
Right.
live in, and it doesn't matter which politics are.
Mm-hmm.
In one administration, gas is higher. Another administration, food's higher. Another
Sure.
administration's eggs are higher. Just pick. It doesn't matter. Understand.
Food and eggs, by the way, same thing.
Thank you.
Just want a point of clarification. Okay.
Thank you. You know what? You're right.
Go ahead. You didn't see that one coming. I'm listening to you. Our folks out here are listening. We're listening to you when you talk. We're leaning in.
I earned that.
Yeah.
I earned that.
It's right there with the water. Stay in the water. If the water is cold, the water gonna be cold.
That one's going to live forever.
Yes.
The reality of it, though, is what we're going to talk about today is you've got to adjust, and pricing is something that you have to adjust.
Right.
Absolutely.
I mean, the real risk, I don't think, is raising your prices. It's staying underpriced for too long.
Correct.
Becomes part of the challenge. So,
Right.
So let's do what we normally do. Let's talk about we're going to crystallize the issues, and then we'll give you some solutions here.
Okay.
Let's talk really, I think, number one, about getting pricing completely wrong.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of times, owners base prices on competitors, right? Once someone else is charging, what they feel like the customer can tolerate,
Right.
right? That the market, you push it to the
Right.
market. And then also, sometimes pricing is fear of rejection.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, if we price this high, we won't get the deal.
Right.
And we'll lose the deal.
Right.
And, they do that instead of pricing based on the value that they're actually
Right.
delivering or the outcomes that they're creating
Right.
or how they're positioned in the market.
Correct.
Because certainly when you're the person that they're calling, when they're saying, hey, I don't just need I don't need somebody to work with my sales leaders. I need Lon Graham.
Correct.
There's a different dynamic tied to that dollar value. Sometimes you overshoot, what they say, overkick your coverage.
Right,
Sometimes
right.
you overkick your coverage, right?
Right.
I've seen instances where people, threw out some big numbers because they thought they were worth it, and the client didn't see it that way. Let's
Sure.
just say that.
Yeah, and there's a couple things. You can always come back down. You can always negotiate, exchange, and value. You can almost never increase your proposal price once you've set it. So you can't go back and say, oh, well, you know what? We underpriced that. Well,
Right.
Sucks for you.
Right. Correct.
Here's the thing that I would
Recall. Can I recall that message?
That's exactly edit. Here's the thing that I would deal with salespeople when I was in a sales leadership role in a different company. Salespeople would come to me and say, well, they're going to think that's too high. And I would tell them all the time, they're not buying with your wallet. Stop selling with your wallet.
That's right.
They are not buying with what you think you would pay for it.
Yep.
And if you're selling to corporations, they got a lot more budget than you do. So sell the value of your product.
That's right.
And sell it for what the impact
Right. Don't count my
is.
money.
Right.
Don't tell me what I can't get. And listen, to me, it's something you learn from.
Right.
Right. Not to, because we're all, I mean, a lot of us are guilty of that.
Oh, 100%.
And I remember being at an event and I was going to observe the event. It was put on by a friend of mine. And I remember looking around the room and there was a lot of sales activity. You know, it was people pitching from stage, you know, and I remember looking around the room and I'm like, you know, can these people buy? Well, I mean, it is what it is. People, I mean, we did a whole episode. People judge, right?
We all do.
And now, available. I don't know why Willie H is cracking up over there. I don't know why he's cracking up, but now being able to afford something and acquire something are two different things.
Correct.
Right? You know, credit cards will allow you to acquire. That doesn't mean you can afford.
Correct.
Right? So, and I just remember observing and seeing the speaker go and seeing this particular woman who I would not have, you know, but she was buying everything.
Right.
Now, sadly, you and I both know many times best intentions has nothing to do with the product.
Right.
Many people get caught in the hype and go make impulse purchases and, you know, don't become the millionaires that they thought the program was going to make them. I'm just, you know, it's just the truth of the situation. But I was just amazed. But it really, it's in its simplicity, it was a turning point for me in terms of that world.
Right.
Because I was watching basically B2C transactions.
Right.
I come from really a B2B world by and large, right?
Correct.
You know, we're selling books and some other things, but by and large, the people that hire me, I mean, I don't get hired by individuals.
Right.
I get hired by companies and organizations, right? And that type of thing. So it's typically a B2B relationship. But watching that and going, wow, look at these people swiping, investing in themselves. I'm all for that. I would not have acquired I would not be anywhere if I had made the decision, albeit riskier in some circumstances than others, to continue to invest in myself. So I get it, but yeah, it's amazing. You don't know where, you know, if you're marketing the right way and hitting the right buttons with the right intentions, it's amazing where people can put their hands on. Not when you're being like defrauded.
No, right. Yeah,
you know, when you hear those stories about these kind of people pressuring people to open credit cards up to jam the programs on them and things of that nature, that's not cool.
Now we're talking totally about sincere intent, good intent, the providing value. We're talking right now about all the things we've talked about for 110 episodes.
Right.
Back at Christmas, my nephew who lives out in California came back, and the family, we went out to a mall up in Northern Virginia, and his sisters and my sister went shopping, and he and I were walking around, and I said, you want to test your ego? Come on with me, Jake. And I said, I'm going to show you how to kill a man's ego like that. And we walked into a furniture store. Ignored. Single men walking into a furniture store are like the plague.
Oh, wow.
Nobody will talk to you because they think you're not in there to make a decision. They think you're not in there. They don't know if you're single or if you're married and you're just in there killing time and your wife's not there, your girlfriend.
What? If I'm the
10 minutes
looker
for somebody to say something to us.
Right.
And he goes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And my point is that's a form of judgment in that environment.
Right.
Like a guy's not going to walk in here and buy something. So we're not going to talk to him.
Oh, well, I certainly won't. If no one's talking to me, I certainly limit the chances.
100%. Right.
But so what? You can't talk to me because my wife's not here?
Or whatever. I don't know. But I've walked into furniture stores multiple times before.
Right.
And it's taken now there's others where I'll go in and they're like, hey, how you doing? Come on, let's talk about what you want to do.
I'm a future buyer.
Correct. So my point in saying that is
who gets in? Hold on. Who just randomly goes to a furniture store with no intent? It may not be today,
right?
But I'm not driving all the way to. I didn't wake up on the weekend and go, oh, you know, it'd be fun today to just drive to Restoration Hardware and walk around by myself.
Right.
I mean, like if I show up there, that's intentional.
Correct.
You know, it's not like
on purpose, right?
Right? Like Yeah, that's poor. That's poor training.
Correct. The point of all of that is that there was a judgment involved.
Right.
And what we're talking about is be careful about the judgments that you make.
Yeah, correct.
And we go back to pricing
100%.
and judgments that we're making about pricing because of what we think somebody else.
And I know I've told this story before, but like my uncle, who spent like 20 years in the betting, and he was always high, always on the top tier of gross.
Yeah.
And he would his managers would always complain like, oh, you must be walking customers because your gross is so significantly higher. I mean, you're in a commission business, right? Your gross is so significantly higher than the other people in your area.
Right.
You must be like throwing customers out. And his position was no, not even close. He says the mistake that your salespeople make is when somebody comes in and says, "Oh, I think we're looking for a queen bed." They go, "How much are you looking to spend?"
Right.
And then the person answers, and then they go show them what's the equivalent of what they want to spend.
Right.
He says, if somebody comes in the store and asks me, telling me I'm looking for a queen bed, I walk them over to the $9,000 queen bed.
Right.
And let them bring themselves down. So they have contrast.
Right.
And now make the decision.
Yeah.
That's that's the contributory piece.
Yeah.
Is I'm letting them decide, not me making a decision and now eliminating a whole segment.
Right.
Because most people don't go in and say, "Show me the 9,000." Not that they wouldn't spend it, but they don't go in thinking that that you can even spend $9,000 average customer.
Well, or in understanding what the value of that is, like how much it would positively impact their sleep.
You mean the place that you spend a third of your life is in bed?
Correct.
Yeah, God forbid.
God forbid.
And that, he was good, and that was his line. 9,000. Oh my God, are you crazy? So let me ask you a question. What was your last vacation?
Right.
Oh, we took a cruise. Oh, you took a cruise. How long was the cruise? Oh, 10 days.
Right.
Let me ask you, what'd you spend? If you think about it.
Right.
Oh, probably about $8,000-$9,000.
Right.
So let me get this straight. You would spend $8,000 to $9,000 for a 7-day excursion.
Right.
But you would not make that investment for where you spend a third of your life.
Right. You can spend $9,000 for a week, or you can spend $9,000 to crawl in bed every night.
Right. And again, that changes perspective.
100%.
If $9,000 was completely out of your reach, he ain't got nothing for you, right?
Right, that's different.
But if it was can't afford it, just hadn't thought I would see value in that.
Correct.
Now we're in the ball game here.
100%.
And that's the thing, because when you do the other, and going back to that pricing from fear before we move on, you're attracting price shoppers. You're attracting high maintenance clients.
Right.
You're attracting low loyal customers.
Right.
People who will sell you out for just a few dollars. And no business wants to be, predicated on that, on that way. And if you create the right programs, and car insurance is a great one for that. I've been in the same car insurance company for probably 12, 13 years. Even though I know I can get lower insurance.
Right.
I don't want to, but I'm Emerald now. I'm whatever. I have accident forgiveness. I have vanishing this and that and the other. And it's been forever. So I don't want to start. I don't just to save money, and not that they've done anything particularly great, but they have good systems. I've had incidences over the years, and they've got good technology, and they solve the problems.
Right.
So it creates a law. But I will go shop it and see that it's less, but not dramatic enough for me to undo all of that. So I think that's important, because your pricing doesn't just, reflect your value. It also determines your customer.
One of the other things too, Corey, is as we talk about this and think about this in real time, if your competitors are raising their prices and you're not, what you're going to get is their discarded customers, which means you're going to get the people they don't want to do business with anymore.
Yeah.
And it's, as I think about this, you're getting their discards or their offshoots.
Right.
And then those are, because those
sloppy seconds,
tire kickers, they're the ones that are looking for the lowest price.
Willie
and those are the ones that cause the most problems.
Right. True that, as they say.
True
that.
Indeed. All right.
Okay. So let's see the truth about raising prices. Right?
Okay.
So we clear it up. Yes, you will lose some customers when you raise your prices. But here's what most people miss. those are often the customers who are holding you back anyways. They're tying up the customer service line. They're tying up various situations. So the goal isn't to keep everyone. It's to build a better, more profitable customer base. So, see if you agree with this one. Better customers beat more customers every single time.
Right.
Get us Corey Mosley. Yeah. Get us Corey. I like that. Get us Corey Mosley. Yeah.
That's 100% right. CoreyMosley.com.
CoreyMosley.com. That's right, baby.
So, the answer is yes. And what happens is the people that that you lose in raising your prices are the people that are looking to pay the least.
Right.
What often happens is the people that pay the least require the most. And if you lose them and you get better customers, which comes back to what you just said, better customers is always better than more customers.
Maybe this guy can help me.
That aren't.
I think he can, longraham.com.
Perfect.
That's right. Okay, so let's just get into it. We're on the express train today.
Yep, let's run it.
Let's talk about some strategies. We're going to look at 5 to raise prices without losing your best customers. You see how we do that? Just that little change in there, without losing your best customers. So number 1 is going to be increase value before you increase price, right? No one just wants an arbitrary Netflix now. The Netflix pricing is going up again.
Is it okay?
And I'm like, man, this thing's creeping towards like $30 a month.
Okay.
But what's funny is, because I'm like, this is crazy. I gotta have to rethink this. I don't know how bad I need watch the Hulk Hogan, autobiography or whatever thing is, or whatever. But then I'm like, I look at my other subscriptions,
right,
and I go, I actually pay more for Hulu. Because you get HBO and Hulu together and they bundle it. So like it's just interesting how they do it, but and then they have the slow creep, so now they get you.
Right.
So it's like, do I want to pay more for Netflix, but then do I want people talking about shows that I can't watch?
Right. Yeah, and Netflix does a good job too of introducing new shows as they introduce new pricing.
Right. And granted, I have, I'm sure I'm on the whatever. I mean, I don't have commercials. I have 4K. I mean, there's probably some bandwidth. I probably could downgrade without canceling and save a few bucks, but that's for another show. Right. So again, don't just raise your prices out of nowhere, right? So what are you adding to this equation? Are you adding a better experience? Are you adding faster delivery? Are you adding bonus features? Is there stronger communication? Like, you'll see times with tech companies, their lower tiers will have, email only. Then you'll get email chat. Then you'll get email and live person kind of thing.
Correct.
Based on how they do that. So, and I would argue customers I would argue that customers don't resist price increases. They resist unexplained price increases. Yeah. I know I'm getting something for that. Maybe not. Oh,
bingo! We're gonna have Yeah, I mean, you've got to justify it, is what you're talking about, Corey. What's the justification? And justification comes in many forms. It comes in higher service agreement, higher service levels,
right?
More benefits, different add-ons. There's lots of different ways that you can do it, and we're talking about those. What people pay for are better experiences.
Yep.
Faster responses, better access.
Better access.
And so if you are looking for ways to raise your prices and keep your best customers, maybe you can create a different level of access for them as part of raising that price.
Well, that's great because you're leading me into number 2.
We have ESPN.
Yes. Number 2, because I pride myself on you not knowing anything that we're talking about. So number 2 is segment your customers.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it may not be everyone getting a price rate, or, how you're structuring that too. So not all customers are created equally.
Correct.
Right? Or created equal. You can break them out. who are your high value, loyal clients versus your price sensitive clients.
Correct.
So you can look at how you protect your best clients and then gradually transition or release the others.
Correct. One of the things that is incredibly valuable without impacting your current clients or your current customers is to raise the price for new acquisition. So when you have new customers coming into your ecosystem or coming into your business, those new customers are going to pay the new price. And we've talked about this before. I've got a good buddy of mine's in the financial services business, and he's got longstanding customers, and he goes, I've got to raise my prices and my fees to be sustainable.
Right.
But the people that have been with me for a long time, I don't want them to feel like they're being punished for being with me for a long time.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is increase my fees for new acquisition.
Charge it to the next one.
Guy I want to work with.
Yeah.
Well, but the reality
Pick
of
it up
is,
on the next guy.
and the reality of it is that's where you make up some of your gaps, right?
Right.
So if you want, we're talking about keeping your best customers and feeling good about it, do it that way.
I feel like you're getting it. Well, my next statement was going to be grandfathering your best customers.
Okay.
Strategically. So you just hit that, right? Rewarding the loyalty.
Right.
So legacy pricing, slower increases,
Right.
exclusive perks to that process. So, and again, what you're after there is you want to increase your profitability, but you're also increasing trust, retention, goodwill, all those things that go along with that.
Right.
So that's important. Go ahead.
Well, and in one of the most recent episodes, we talked about customer retention and the way their experience impacts that. So by making your most valuable customers feel like your most valuable customers, the key thing to giving them the benefits or reducing or keeping them at the same price is telling them, look, I'm going to have a price increase because you've been a loyal customer for so long. It will not impact you. You've got to tell them that because that makes them feel more valuable.
Voice of reason.
There you go. And just kind of continuing this trend. I mean, it's all tying together nicely. Number 4 is communicate the why clearly.
Yeah.
Right? Don't hide from it.
Right.
Don't hide from it. Own it.
Correct.
Explain if it's rising cost, if it's an investment in quality,
Yeah.
if it's an improvement in service,
Yeah.
right? We've updated our technology.
Correct.
That now we're going to be able to do this, and this.
Right.
And to do that, it costs money.
Correct.
Again, everybody's feeling the squeeze in different ways. So it's not shocking, particularly if you're making market adjustments, not arbitrary adjustments, right? Then it becomes more understood. So the frame here, though, is creating a frame that you are showing a commitment to deliver more,
Right.
not just charge more.
Right.
And that's a whole completely different psychological ballgame.
Well, and a commitment to deliver more, commitment to excellence, a commitment to maintaining standards. We talk about standards a lot. One of the things that I will say, Corey, is we all agree nobody likes paying more for something.
Right.
We know people aren't going to like it. That doesn't mean that they're not willing to do it if you give them and justify the reason for it. So, yes, we're like what we're afraid of, and I say this standing firmly on the ground in front of a mirror, what we're afraid of in raising prices is we're afraid that people aren't going to like it. Well, just acknowledge that they're not going to. They're not going to like a price increase. Why? Because nobody wants to pay more. We just don't. So acknowledge that that's true, and then use that as how you justify the difference in what you're giving them for a higher price point.
Woo.
When the church say amen.
Ooh, I got one of those.
How do you get that today?
Right.
How did you get that this show? We're going to have a meeting.
It's like
All right, number 5, package and reframe your offer.
yeah.
So instead of just charging more for the same thing, can you create bundles? Can you create premium tiers? Can you create done-for-you options?
Right.
Now you're not raising prices. You're offering better options,
Yeah.
right? And you can distinctively make that difference. So again, you're not just raising your price, you're upgrading your offer in that instance.
Yeah, Corey, and that's top line. Let's look at the other side, at the bottom line. Are there things that you're doing that you should no longer be doing? And maybe instead of offering that as an individual, making it an individual offer,
Right.
roll it up into a value package at the top end. So something that you're selling that is a low margin item,
Right.
stop selling it as an individual item and roll it into a higher value option that then the top tier customers also get.
Right. I mean, and part of that, and that's a good point. And there's a psychology to this.
Yeah.
Right. And better understanding also what your customers actually think from a psychological standpoint becomes very, very important. Don't skip that.
Right.
And again, that's knowing and learning about your business, or making sure you're having the right people that understand psychographics and understand and understand buyer intent. Because I would argue that customers don't buy the cheapest, but they do buy what feels like the best value.
I agree.
And I think there's a distinction there, right? And in many cases, psychologically, higher prices equal higher perceived quality, which is why when Payless did that experiment and took over the mall, you read about that. You never read about that? Payless shoes? They took over a store in a mall and called it Palessi, and they dressed up how it looked and had, the shoes on high-end looking racks, and they had couches and lounges there, and they tripled the prices of the shoes, and people were buying them left and right. It was the same shoes from the Payless store, down the street. Yeah. So it was perceived value.
Right.
They raised the price. You thought you were in a nice store. You had a nice experience. Maybe they had the Prosecco flowing there. Yeah. And now all of a sudden, that Payless shoe that's $49.99, a few miles away, is $499.99. Right. And you're like, ooh, what colors? How many colors does it come in?
That's exactly right.
And again, lower prices, skepticism.
Right.
Right. As my uncle says, cheap and good rarely go together.
Correct.
So, you may be actually hurting trust if your price, in fact, is too low. So the crazy thing is the Martha Stewart rule, right? Sometimes raising your price may actually make it easier to sell your product or service.
Yeah.
And completely counterintuitive to what someone may think.
Well, you use the word psychographic and perspective. And what's really important about that is understanding why your customers buy from you and understanding the value that they perceive in working with you and what's important to them. And sometimes you just got to do, a top-tier customer assessment. Let's talk about the business we're doing together. Why are you working with us? What do we do that you like? What can we do better? And what would you like for us to do better? And then you take some of that and then apply that to a price increase. Said, here's what we've done. We've talked to our best customers. This is what they said they want. Here's a way that we can do it. And part of that package does come at a higher price point, but we're willing to do it because you said that's what you wanted.
That's right.
Nothing.
This might be a guy I want to
what are we over here working for? My goodness. You got one job. Well, you got 7 jobs, son.
Got 17,
you got 7 jobs.
Right. 7 jobs and 22 buttons.
Hey, man, time to go to work. All right. Let's look at mistakes to avoid when raising prices.
Yep.
Okay. So sudden, massive jumps, right? We don't want, too aggressive it creates shock, can create backlash. No communication.
Right.
Like poof pow, because that's going to create confusion. That's going to create resentment. Raising prices without the improvement in experience. Again, just charging more without delivering more. That's going to equal more churn for you. And then, trying to keep everyone. This keeps you stuck at the lower margins.
Right.
And if you don't have the volume, right? Well, Walmart is lower margin, higher volume, right? But some of the other places have to operate a little differently. Smaller organizations have to operate a little differently. So, because here's the truth, trying to please everyone also is one of the fastest ways to stay underpaid.
And you better believe it.
Yeah.
We tend to talk, tend to talk in terms of all or nothing, right?
Yeah.
And the world that we live in is a polarized world because polarizing
Polarity.
ideas and that sells. dividing people
Sure.
and then conquering.
Contrarian views.
Correct.
Right.
I say that to say this, is that raising your prices isn't an all or nothing option.
Right.
What it is it's a way for you to be sustainable and to maintain margins
Right.
and maintain profitability so that you can stay in business. Understand, though, that raising your prices is going to impact some and it's going to have a negative impact on some.
Right.
What we're encouraging you to do is focus on the ones that are your best customers,
Right.
so that they have a perceived value of the impact that they're getting for keeping doing business with you.
Well, let's think about this in the context of the real goal. Like, what is the real goal of a pricing strategy?
Right.
Because it's not just about revenue. And you hit on some of those points.
Right.
Right. Because being priced correctly and properly, so to speak, is a positioning position for growth.
Imagine
You don't
that.
say, right? Is about positioning.
Right.
So you're attracting better clients. You're improving margins. You're reducing stress. Anybody like a reduction in stress, but you're also creating room to scale.
Yeah.
We love that term, scale up, get bigger, grow, scale. So that is allowing you to do that, being priced right and getting away from margin compression. Does that, because at the end of the day, right? Pricing is a growth strategy, not just simply a financial decision.
Correct.
And I think that's important.
Of
Yeah.
reason.
Okay. Oh,
Ooh,
I took
wow.
reverse,
There we
snatched
go.
it from you.
There you go.
All right, Willie.
Well done.
Willie is trying to get lunch.
He's
That's why he's getting. He's trying to get. He's
just
trying
turned
to. He wants to go somewhere good for lunch today. Yeah, I mean, if you've been hesitating, raising your prices,
Right.
take this, my child, as your sign.
Yeah.
This is your sign. Audit your value. Upgrade your offer. Communicate clearly.
It's an opportunity to really demonstrate the value that you bring to the marketplace. And the big piece of that, Corey, you just said, communicate clearly. Communicate why it matters and what and the benefit that the people doing business with you will get. You have to decide how you communicate that and understand that the benefit has got to be in their terms. If you do it well, though, they're going to stay with you, and your best customers are going to continue to want to help you grow your business.
I like that. Oh, hit it again. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I was getting ready to say, yeah, I like that.
in your mind,
So he
yeah.
beat me to it.
Yeah,
Okay. That's it.
perfect.
I think we're going to leave it there.
Good.
Because we want you to be able to execute. We don't want you to overthink.
Right.
Also, we want you to be able to take a practical approach to this. And listen, if you're in line, maybe you've come out of this already. Maybe you're in the middle of it and you could take something away here, some what not to do's, or go back to the table and meet with your team and say, hey, is this something we need to do? Have we been avoiding it because we don't have these other things solved for?
Right.
Right? We know we need to raise prices or make some adjustments on pricing, but we were going to fall into the abrupt end, and we were going to fall in. So now, hopefully, you can go back and dissect this.
Right.
Only thing better than listening to Grow Business Podcast once is listening to it twice.
With a notebook.
Right. And the only thing better than that is sharing it with two friends. Right. So that's, I got my Willie Jolly training.
There you go.
He said you got to always, when he puts out a book, you got to always buy two.
Right.
One for yourself and one for a friend or colleague.
Indeed.
So that's how I feel about Position for Growth. I mean, the only thing better than one copy is 200 copies.
right.
So I
And you
encourage
better
that.
believe it.
We got to get them for your organization, and head over to CoreyMoses.com to learn more about that. LonGraham.com also. And, I think before we get out of here, there's still, when we talk about the ability to command higher prices, I don't want to leave without talking about the importance of authority and the importance about things that you can be doing, particularly my folks in professional services.
Yeah.
If you are the brand or you're in your brand, your face is on stuff, your authority and credibility matters. And to me, one of the worst things is to have all of the credibility and all the bona fides in the world and not get the recognition that you deserve because people don't necessarily view you as the obvious choice. So before we get out of here today, Lon, talk to us a little bit about the Obvious Choice interview and how people can get connected with that.
Yeah, Corey, and you're absolutely right. Right now, people are deciding if they trust you before they ever reach out to you. And if you don't look like the authority, you don't even get the opportunity. And if they are working with you and don't trust that you're the authority, they're going to consider whether or not to keep working with you. And this is exactly why we created the Obvious Choice interview. It's a professionally produced TV-style interview that showcases your expertise, your story, and how you help your clients. So when your prospects find you or decide to stay with you, you're not just another option, you're the obvious choice. You can use it on your website, social media, in your sales processes, anywhere trust matters. If you want to see what it looks like and how it works, just head over to obviouschoiceinterview.com. Thank you.
Da-dum. Voice of reason. I did that. I did that one for you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. I think that's going to do it for today, LG. Give us your words of what is this? The benediction. What is it called in church? What is it called in church, Willie H? The benediction. Give us the benediction.
There we go. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. And next time, bring a friend.
I'm impressed with my church knowledge, by the way, there too. I'm going to take a bow for that. Well, folks, this has been another episode of the Grow Business Podcast. We certainly appreciate your viewership and listenership. On behalf of myself, LG007 Lon Graham, and Willie H, we will see you next time. Willie H, take us out.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah, it's listen, everybody's dealing with it right now. So, like anything, it's like, hey, we want to stay in front of this. People are wondering what to do. Should they do it? How to do it? Could they? A lot of people are eating it short term because they don't want to, and they're paying the cost for that. So it's just the reality that we're in.
When William and I were talking about that too before this episode about pricing and perceived value, and the lower you price, the less people pay, the more they want.
Right.
I mean,
it's crazy.
It's just how it works. I got to get a better deal. Well, go get a better deal somewhere else because I'm going to do business.
Don't threaten me.
Right.
That's what they used to do in the car business. I'm going to tell all my friends about this deal. Don't threaten me. I don't want you to tell anybody. I'm taking the bracket, the thing that says the name of the dealership. I'm snatching that off.
Right.
I don't want you to tell anybody about this deal that we had to do.
We are cleaning this thing. That's right. Don't threaten me when I was a kid. I was 10. I threatened to run away, and my mom threatened to help me pack.
Exactly. There you go.
She goes, let's go pack.
That turns you around. That turns you around real quick.
Indeed.